Hi everybody, you're with Katie Jane and I'm with Jimmy. We're with Families Destroyed by the State. Jimmy, would you like to introduce a bit about what brought you to Families Destroyed by the State?
To be honest, I've just been inspired by the whole campaign that you lot are doing. I lost my kids 6 years ago. Now, 2013 is when it happened, just the day before my son's first birthday, they were removed. And I was heavily campaigning at first, to be honest. I was going to protests. I was outside the Houses of Parliament. That Justice for Jonas. I remember meeting the woman, the mother that, her son died in foster care, and we went and we held a petition and we handed it into Downing Street. And I went to see MPs and did everything. And then I took some time off, to be honest. I got involved with substance misuse services. I think they kind of saved my life a bit, to be honest. And for 5 years, I was heavily involved with that, and I was just trying to help parents with substance misuse. Because then once I knew, look, record everything, this, that, and the other, I could pass it on to the decent ones, the ones that I felt that it just made a couple of mistakes in life. And that was what I was doing for a while. And then obviously the way that I was working as a group worker. So I would run and facilitate substance misuse groups for people. And then due to funding cuts, I had to give that up. And then I was at home with my thoughts then. And then that's when it started hitting me. Because for 5 years, I had thrown myself into working with other people and I hadn't dealt with my own trauma. And then it starts hitting you like a ton of bricks. And then I used to watch your videos, especially your blogs. I had tears streaming down my face. It was like, fuck me, that resonates. And I think there was another one you did with Matt as well. I think it was his name, Matt. And he was talking about relationships, how you're burdened the child abuser. You've got that stigma of, even though that, you might have made mistakes, but you loved your kids and you loved them with all your heart. And the way that people didn't believe me, it was no smoke without fire. And to be fair, I made mistakes. I'm the first person to put my hands up to that. But I was very quick to try and rectify my mistakes. And just seeing you lot, and I've seen other campaigners and this, that, and the other, and I think a lot of egos are involved, and I hate all this fucking infighting. It fucking drives me up the wall, and I've seen it so much. But with you lot, I don't really see that, and I see a bit of laughter, and you're smiling through the tears. Do you know what I mean? And I find that beautiful, to be honest. So that's why I got really interested in your channel, and especially you. I thought, fuck me now, that is what you call a proper fucking mother. And that's the God's honest truth.
I always try to tell people at the end of the day, just because I'm dying inside doesn't mean I need to show it. Because a smile can lighten up someone's day, and if I can lighten up someone else's day when I'm in one of my darkest, then that's a good thing.
Exactly. As I said, even if you just bring a smile to someone or you just give someone a little bit of advice, you don't realise, because, as I said, when you lose your whole fucking world, you are shattered into a million fucking pieces. And you're going to have to put that little piece back together at a time. And I think that the way that everyone's uniting, and you know what, and you can get your political different views and whatever, everyone's got them. It don't matter. It's about the kids, like you say, and this is happening on a fucking grand scale. It's not just happening in the UK. I've made friends of America. There's a guy called Brandon Letts. I think if you ever heard of it, he made a wicked song. He made this amazing song about, I think, Kidnapped, it's called. If you ever look on YouTube, it's a rap song.
I think I've actually seen it.
Yeah, I speak to him on YouTube all the time, and he's in that Saints group that I have. I posted a thing the other day, and the way it's going on in Norway as well, Australia, Ireland. It's happening all over the gaff. Now, what is the real reason behind it? Now, obviously, it's got to be money. It has to be. Or there's even, the worst things you think in your head is there's something even more sinister going on.
There's a lot of evidence to show it as well. If you look,
there's people talking about harvesting organs. These post-term abortions. which I've seen, I think, and what the fuck is that? You know, how can you have a post-term abortion? So, you know, and these have been passed in American states now, you know. What's the next step? As I said, I mean, if you look at Matt, I mean, I'm glad that I was watching it the other day, and as I said, you know, this whole domestic violence thing has come up, and it's shining light on the family courts. And yeah, as long as we keep knocking on the door, it's bound to cave open at some point.
Well, this is the thing. More and more people are coming together as well. I mean, since when I started, more and more people have come forward, and more people are realizing that it's not one cause that are affecting people; it's multiple causes.
No.
I mean, I've had parental alienation, forced adoption, and I've been in care myself. And you've been through more than just one cause as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. As I said, I mean, the things I've seen, and as I said, it's been a very humbling experience. I mean, I went to a grief counselling group one day, and I was like, these are for people that lost their children, and I felt like a fucking fraud being there. But in the same sense, I was like, well, I can't even grieve for my kids. This is the thing. We've got disenfranchised. It's called disenfranchised grief, because we don't go. You got this 5 stages of grief. What people say. We can't go through that
repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Over again. But we never can get through it properly. I mean, this is why I've been looking into this. I believe, you know, through my own research, as I said, I'm studying counselling now. I'm doing level 4. Some of it's very hard. It's just very triggering, especially when you're looking at child development and things like that. I mean, it fucking kills me, some of it. But I know I've got to face it. And as I said, and I think to myself, I watched your video once and I was like, how would I counsel her? And I just thought, I couldn't. And when I went for counselling, they couldn't counsel me. I think I had 18 sessions. They said, he still needs more. You know, it's as you said, it's...
That's the difference though. Me and you, yes, we've walked different paths, but our paths haven't been that much different. We do have similarities in both our paths. And that is what has always helped me, is having someone who can even remotely understand a little bit of this brand new emotion that I never even knew about, and everyone else never even knew about until they've experienced it. That's what helped me. So I reckon you could counsel people. I reckon the best people that you would actually be able to counsel would be people like us who have been through it, because we've walked in the same shoes.
Yeah, but the problem is, as I said, I had a counselling session last night, and I was working with a client, and the way they teach you is you've got to leave your own shit at the door. And it's so hard when you're listening to someone who's been what you've been through. For them, it's called transference and counter-transference. Like, you'll end up spilling your guts. I mean, it's okay to share a little bit, don't get me wrong, but it can go the other way very quickly. And it's learning to... That's the challenge that I'm finding. I said I've written an essay about it today, of fucking 2,000 words. How hard I found that. I mean, there was the guy I was counselling. He was in a domestic violence relationship. Now, my previous relationship, we had a couple of spats, you know. And don't get me wrong, she slapped me, I slapped her back. I should have never retaliated the way I did. But looking back on it, I was involved in a domestic violent relationship for 6 years with my oldest boy's mother, who had borderline personality disorder. And she used to attack me daily. I mean, really attack me daily. And I think I was just triggered, and that was my response. And I'll always feel bad about that, you know, and I apologise. I should have never fucking retaliated the way I did. And I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. But it wasn't, as I said, I went to a DV group, and it was minor compared to what, I mean, even my ex-girlfriend said when she went to a support group, that's what they made her do. She goes, I felt like a fraud being there, you know, because, a little spat was, you know, I smacked her harder on the arse. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. And so, yeah, it's so difficult to counsel people when you've got, because it's called a double bind trauma, because you've had one and the trauma is ongoing. As I said, I can't go on a bus. I can't go out where there's around kids. I can't go to children's parties, or when I do, I'm half a person. You know, I'm thankful for my mother. She's got me a car and stuff like that, because I just can't be around kids. And especially they told me my children are adopted in my borough. So I'm like, is that them? Is that them? Is that them? You know, and people don't know what, as you've said it, Kate, it's fucking torture.
But there's an upside and a downside to it, though. I mean, what we're all suffering through, it's not something that we have to work over, get over, or work through. It's something we learn to live with. But the other side of it as well is we're constantly trying to convince ourselves that we're mad, that the world can't be this horrible, that they just take children like that they just came after ours randomly. I mean, who are we? Why did they come after ours?
Yeah.
That's the other thing about it. I mean, you've constantly got people telling you daily, well, they've not come after my kids. Well, you must have done something. As you said before, there's no smoke without fire. I mean, there is. I mean, there really is. I mean, I have incense burners that you light. There's no flames, but there's a lot of smoke.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. As I said, I mean, look at Lucy Allen, the MP, the big fucking tosspot. Sorry. But, you know, she made a big thing and she was on that programme, Don't Exposure, Please Don't Take My Child. And it nearly happened to her. You know, and she goes, I sat on adoption panels and I can't believe that this is stuff. But she soon shut her fucking mouth. You know, this is a woman. I mean, she never started for even John Hemming, God bless him. At least he fucking gave it a go. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And, John Hemming, I've not heard anything from him in a while. I know he turned up to the RCJ last Christmas, but I've not heard anything from him for a while. But John Hemming was one of the only people I know of.
He was telling people to run.
He's on the run.
He was telling people to run. You know, and Ian Joseph. When you look into my mum got in contact with Ian Joseph, as I said. I mean, that's one of the reasons we decided to fucking try and, as I said, I tried to do a runner with it. As I said, I walked into the contact center and I walked out of them, and the alarms went off, and I remember I even laughing in court. I remember the woman, because she got on well with me, and they tried to make out that I had made her hand swollen. And they showed this picture and evidence in court. Her hand weren't swollen. She was just a fat fucking cunt. She had fat hands, to be honest. She had big fucking fat fingers. She was about 25 stone, you know what I mean? Her hands looked fucking swollen anyway. But the way that they used it in court is, I mean, even as I said, in my case, when it comes to court, they said about, obviously they said, because I had a history of drugs when I was younger. Now, as I said, I was talking to you earlier, the woman said I lacked insight into drugs. So I went out and got a recognised qualification. Not only did that, within 12 weeks, I was a peer mentor. When it came to opposing the adoption, now, at the adoption, you're only supposed to show a small degree of change. Is that the correct thing? You know, a small degree of change to warrant an appeal.
No, you have to have significant change of circumstances.
Significant change. So my problem was drugs, yeah? Whatever. When it came to opposing the adoption, this is the fucking ironic thing. I was the local authorities representative to Public Health England on drugs. You know, how far can you go? Like, I'm their representative to Public Health England, who are their fucking bosses, about how to run drug services. Yeah, as I said, and then the judge just went to me, oh, well, the children have been settled now for 3 months and it would be unfair to move them. And I just thought, oh, man, I nearly lost the plot in there, to be honest. You know, it was just pure apathy by these people.
Before we go any further,
go on.
List the causes that have targeted you. Just so, because what I want to do eventually is go through them all as well.
So definitely, I would say the fact that I wasn't working, I was unemployed and on benefits. They certainly targeted that. Even when the CAFCAS officer, when they said, "Oh, what would you do?" I said,
I don't mean social services individually. I mean like causes like forced adoption, parental alienations.
I'm totally against parental alienation, even with my own. As I said, my son has issues with his mum, and I hate it. I hate the way that he hates her now, and I try and promote contact with him. Even though she's got her own issues, I still have a real issue with alienation. It really, really gets to me. So I'm up for that. Fathers for Justice. And I'm really into people in recovery. I think substance misuse and people with mental health issues. I think a lot of times people are misdiagnosed. And as I said, I think what we were discussing earlier, they're targeting the vulnerable people because we are easy targets. As I said, and in court, in the family court, it's hearsay and it's on the balance of probabilities, isn't it? This future risk of emotional harm. And as I said, that there's so many other things that the system is set up to fail. And the only way we're going to do it is infiltrate, seek and destroy it. That's what we've got to do. We've got to infiltrate it, seek it out and destroy it. And then hopefully we'll get some change. I think, as I said, it's a growing movement. You can see on TV now, and I'll see it more about family courts, secret family courts, what's goes on. And I remember when I was in family court, and I said, I looked at the court listings, and I'm thinking, wow, how much money are they making?
You should see the state of Manchester court. The day they were putting my daughter up for adoption, I was in there from 9 o'clock till about 12 o'clock. There was 36 adoptions stamped in that short amount of time before they'd even taken a break.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even the hearings, I had a 6-day hearing. And what are they on? What, $2,000 an hour, them barristers? 6-day hearing. And I remember, because I didn't sleep for the first 5 days. That's why they went on the 6 days. Said he's not going on the stand.
You know, on average, the finding of fact hearings is supposed to be 3 weeks. I
didn't even get one of them.
I got 5 days. No, I got 3 days. So I got 3 day finding of fact hearing. My best mate Kyle, he got a day and a half, and he got the judgment and the final hearing on the second day.
Fuck that, man. So yeah, I didn't even get a fact finding hearing at all. As I said, they falsified my drug screen reports as well. As I said, I had a problem with amphetamine. I openly admitted it, and I told them the reasons why. I had undiagnosed ADHD, and I was using it. I was self-medicating. It got out of hand. When my drug reports come back, there was no trace of amphetamine in my system at all. And yet, I had openly admitted I smoked cannabis as well, and there was no traces of cannabis. But yet, there was loads of MDMA, and I was like, hang on a minute, mate. I said, for one reason, I said, I was taking amphetamine, and there's no amphetamine. I said, can you test a B sample, please? Now, you're supposed to have a B sample tested. They take 2 samples for a reason. So if you question the results, you can get your B sample tested. The local authority turned around and said to me, no, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. I said, well, you know, I'm on benefits. I goes, how much is it? It went 1,200 quid. I was like,
you probably realised this for yourself already, but for anyone else who's watching, the reason why you shouldn't go for a drug test that social services put forward, no matter how clean you are, no matter how much you've admitted to, never go to one of their drug tests.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I went to, was it Randox or Lextox, and I found out what was in the news a couple of years ago, that thousands and thousands of their cases were tainted. I mean, this is in actual, you can look up, I think it was Lextox or Randox, something like that. Wherever the testing company was, it was based in Wales, they got fucking exposed for fucking up loads of, all these things were tainted. As I said, and in fact, what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to test you once, see what your levels are, and then test you further along to see how well you've responded to treatment.
Yeah, and also see if you.
And then they make a decision about a parent assessment. Because I said I had one good social worker, a Manchester lady, Jackie Fleary, top woman, man. She fucking sorted out my house. She knew exactly what was going on. Her reports never made it to court. When I tried to do a freedom of information request, suddenly disappeared. Ombudsman suddenly disappeared. Why? Because they were positive, obviously.
Well,
you know, as I said, they cherry pick everything, don't they?
Yeah, and they will falsify documents as well. They do falsify documents. Yeah. People have lost their kids to having taken drugs that they've actually never even attempted or tried or anything in the past. And then you've got the other issue where when you've got reports that actually back you up. Like I had one from a place called Prescott House. I have 4 reports from going back from when I first came back over here from Germany.
Yeah.
That was years ago, nearly 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that.
Yeah.
When I come back, and I was seeing them since. I had fucking massive case notes. Judge wouldn't accept to give me an hour to get them. Wouldn't give me anything to prove that the judge said I could get them. And unless they had written proof from my solicitor and the judge, they couldn't get it, man. I'd have to put in a formal request, which you can't do in an hour.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the way that they work in court is unbelievable. I had 4 or 5 professional witnesses. Like, so I had counsellors, substance misuse professionals, peer mentoring courses, like these highly regarded people, real professionals that I'd worked with over the 12 months. As I said, I'd went out and got certificates in mental health. I'd gone out and got not online certificates. I mean, went to college, proper grafted and got all these. I mean, I threw myself into everything. Every day I was like, right, I'm gonna show these cunts. I'm gonna prove it. I mean, as I said, the one woman said about lacking insight into substance misuse. I said, right, I'll end up being more qualified than you by the end of the month, darling. You watch. So I had, 4 witnesses. Asked them to, come up and speak for me in court. Judge went, no, these people are professionals. I tell you what, statements will do from these people.
See,
but yet the social workers are allowed to speak.
I had a similar thing. I had 3 professionals, GP, health visitor, and family support worker. I had all the written statements were all from family and friends. So I didn't have to drag them in to, I didn't need to bring a pretty party in, is what I thought.
Yeah.
They can write the statements. I'll just get the professionals to speak in a professional manner about what they thought themselves. And the judge turned around in my case and went, she will not accept anyone who isn't opposed to the children coming home.
See, that's how, as I said, that's how they work. They're a law unto themselves. I mean, this woman didn't even mention the statements. I mean, even the contact reports. I mean, I had, 170 contact reports, all excellent. I mean, even the barrister said, the father's excellent. He hasn't missed anything. I mean, I didn't miss any review. I mean, the only time I did is when I nearly died of I got a blood clot on my lung from the shock of everything and fucking collapsed and nearly died. And I missed 1 contact. And they just go, oh, well, the contact's good. They accept it, but they don't read it.
No,
they don't really read the relationship you have with your children.
Good, bad, terrible, whatever. That's it. That's all they care about. But that's nothing. Yeah,
as I said, what goes on in there is, I said, the decision's already made. I mean, even with my ex, she had an independent social worker. Now, they're not supposed to talk to us outside of court. You know how it's all fucking secret. They go into the rooms and they're making the decisions and all that. But she had the benefit of her, because after I'd tried to do a run over the kids, I was told, look, you best support the mother. And I was like, how the fuck should I be supporting her? She's the one who walked out and, she walked out me and the kids.
That's to show that you care more about her than the kids. That's a trap.
See, maybe, yeah. Maybe I did fall into
a trap. It is genuinely a trap, because when you look at the court statements and everything in any scenario, whether it's socially involved or not, if you look at it, if you've got one parent that's going, my child deserves this is in the best interest of my child, I do this for my kid, I do that for my kid, she can do this for the kid, she can, as long as it's child and child focused. And then you'll have the report which says, well, I go out and do this because the dad goes out and does this and the mum goes out and does that, so I go out and do this. The one that's more personal based, they get dismissed and, well, you don't give a shit. As soon as you start going, right, well, I'll help her give more of a shit about herself instead of caring about my kids or himself, whatever the case may be.
Well, what happened with us is, because she had then had another baby, and they tried to say I wouldn't be able to manage with. I mean, I've got my oldest son. As I said, this is one of my appeals. As I said, how can you take the 2 youngest when he's got 50-50 custody of, he has his oldest boy who was removed at the same time, and yet you've had no concerns about his welfare at all. He's
not adoptable. He can't bring in.
He's overage, As I said, even when I said he came to live with me full time, he was worried that social services involved. I said, don't worry at all, Jack. I said, you're not worth no money to him. I said, you ain't worth a penny to him. I said, and furthermore, I said, what, you're 13, 14 years old now? I said, you can stand up, and I said, and we ain't going to fall for it again. We're going to have him recorded. We're going to have it tapes, we're going to do everything. But they still tried the same thing. I mean, when they came into my house, I've got white walls. You know, you get the odd scuff mark on the wall where you might move a bit of furniture. Social worker looked at me and goes, that's neglect, that is. I went, what? Neglect. I said, you were the fuckers that told me to paint the walls white in the first place, to brighten the place up. And just because I've got a scuff mark on it, you're calling that neglect. You know, and the guy was about 19. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I remember having a couple of meetings with the social workers, and I remember saying to them, I'm not being funny, love. I said, look, when I left school with no GCSEs, you know, the only thing that I got offered was social work. So it's not the most intelligent job in the world, to be honest.
It's good pay, though. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. You know, yeah, it's definitely, as I said, yeah, they must be on some money. Even the way it works, because the building that I was in, as I said, this is how fucking corrupt I looked at it. Right? You've got the looked after children team working in one building, and right next to them is the foster and adoption team in the same building.
They do that.
One's feeding the other.
They're
keeping each other in jobs. Do you know what I mean?
Have you noticed though, like with social work, obviously we're saying it is the money driven. Like you can't stay in that job. The people who do go in there for a reason and to do good don't last long there. They do come out pretty sharpish. They do come out pretty soon. They don't last long at all. And
the good ones don't. No, that's why they got such a high turnover.
Makes you think though, would you really trust someone who puts the money over the morals? Because that's who you're inviting into your house when it's social services, and this is something that none of us realise because we grew up watching Shitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
We grew up, believing that social workers were there to actually help families and keep families together.
Help people, yeah. Remember, that's like I discussed with you earlier. We had social workers involved with my brother because he had cystic fibrosis. She was like a fucking angel. As I said, Claire McNulty, she was like part of the family, and I fell into that trap of thinking they're there to help, you know. And as I said, they spoon feed you all this shit. That they're going to get you all this support, especially when you're getting destroyed by the DWP, your rent arrears and this, that, and the house, the council's not listening to your house is falling apart. And then all they do is they turn it around on you and they make it out like it's your fault. And as I said, the way that they twist things, I said, if you kick off, you have a problem regulating your emotions. If you're calm and quiet, you have an attachment disorder.
Yeah.
What can you do? I mean, I suppose all we can do is raise awareness at the moment.
You were saying earlier before we started recording that with social services they keep complaining that they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. But what people need to realise is
down,
parents are damned if they do and we are damned if they don't. It doesn't matter what they do. As soon as they decide that they're actually going to take you to court after they've got your child, they're going after your kids. This isn't something that you're able to win easily unless you stand your ground. You know what you're doing. It is the fucking worst battle you'll ever face, though.
Yeah. As I said, when I was talking to you earlier about the foster carer, when she said to me, you need to drag it out until they're 5. He said that you got more chance of them getting into long-term foster care if you drag it. He said under 5, they're going to be adopted. You know, but as I said, even with the drugs thing, as I said, they want 12 months abstinence, but you've got 26 weeks. You can't do it. You can't do it even if you want. You just cannot do it. As I said, they make the rules up as they go along.
With a lot of them as well, you'll see that, like with mine, you can see with my case, they turn around and they put on personality disorders. But I was under mental health services. I've never had a personality disorder. I never will have a personality disorder as long as I'm lucky and I don't go insane first. But all of a sudden, at the same time, I'm already seeing regular counsellors. I'm seeing a random one for a couple of hours. That's it. Yeah. And she's doing this massive report about I've got personality disorder when clearly I was upset at the fact that my kids were being taken. But that's it. But it's a personality disorder.
But one thing I've noticed as well, a lot of these social workers think they're trained counsellors. Now, trust me, counselling is not an easy fucking job to do, but they seem to, as I said, they cut and paste every fucking thing. And they will make out like you've got a personality disorder just because you kick off 1 minute and you're calm the next. Oh, well, you've got bipolar. Do you know what I mean? It's, as I said, they use every dirty trick in the book. I mean, I actually asked for a mental health assessment because, as I said, the 12 months previous, as I said, the state from the DWP, the knock-on effect that that had on my family, the rent arrears, this, that, and the other, through no fault of my own, I was losing the plot. I went to the doctors. I said, listen, mate, I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. Something, you know, I need help. I honestly admitted it. I went to the mental health geezer, told him what was going on. I said, look, I'm having all these mad synchronicities and coincidences and all these things happening. And he turned around and said to me, he said, you're having a spiritual awakening, mate. That's what he turned around and said to me. And he gave me a clean bill of health. And as I said, they could never bring up my mental health. But as I said, they will use absolutely anything against you. You know, the fact that I got into a little bit of trouble when I was younger, when I was a teenager, you know, I grew up in a bit of a ghetto in West London. They used that. Yeah, exactly. Anything. As I said, you know, you feel like a mug.
They put you on impossible timescales as well. Like you were saying about having to be 12 months clean, but having to do that in 26 weeks. With, obviously, with the personality disorders and the mental health side of it, you get a minimum of a year's worth of treatment in 26 weeks. They give you possible timelines to meet, which any parent...
But you see the thing about person...
Or they'll give you a treatment or suggest you have to have a certain treatment, which is completely out of your financial range, especially if you're on benefit. That treatment's private. Yeah,
exactly. That's the same with me, what they did when they said, when I questioned the drug screener, so they want the B sample tested. They said, 1,200 quid. Now, what they were supposed to do, as I said before, they're supposed to test you, then wait 3 months, test you again, and then give you a parent assessment. The good social worker, Jackie Fleary from Manchester, the lovely one who got all my house sorted, she's done all the work with the family, came and visited my house and said, there's nothing wrong with this place. It looks like a bloody modern art gallery. That's what she said to me. You know, and the reports went missing. As I said, can't find them anywhere. But as I said, what they do is they break you mentally and emotionally. They are vile, as I said, vile, you know, and what's vile evil, isn't it?
Archer.
Yeah, as I said, you know, and people don't know, it is genocide. That is what it is. It's in the UN definition of genocide is taking someone's children and giving them to someone else.
Yeah, I think it's to take a child from one group and insert them into another group.
That's it, exactly. That's the word, yeah. And look how they're kicking off about it in America with the Mexicans cutting the border and all that. And it sickens me sometimes that, it never gets to... As I said, I mean, man, I've done some poetry and stuff and the substance misuse work, and I made a film and, I dedicated it to my kids. And I remember when I was on the BBC, I talked about forced adoption, edited out, nothing about the forced adoption. Just that I was on drugs and the kids got removed. That was it. You know, not the fact that I spoke for 5 minutes about forced adoption and how bad it was, but that weren't going into the BBC report. As I said, they don't want to touch it with a barge pole.
No, they don't. This is the thing.
But this is the only hope that we've got. As I said, I think that last case where I've seen it on TV and Victoria, Derbyshire, and I know it's all about the domestic violence, and sometimes you can say, us men are going to get it in the fucking neck. But, because it does go both ways. People need to know that. But still, as long as they're knocking on the bloody door, as I said, you keep knocking on the door, keep knocking on the door, keep knocking on the door. It's happening a lot in Australia. It's happening a lot in Norway. As I said, the UN have got involved now about forced adoption in this country. The EU have made, as I said, look at poor old Sabine. Look what happened to her. Sabine McNeill? Never seen her when she went to the European Parliament and she was representing parents. They banged her up. Yeah, she's been banged up, mate. She got banged up for like 11 years or something.
Bloody hell. This is the thing, they took Angela Ray off the streets the other day when she was out having a meal and picked her up all for fighting Tussler. I mean, it's the same as what we do, fight social. I mean,
but the thing is because she's involved with Gemma Doherty, and Gemma Doherty is probably Ireland's versions of Tommy Robinson. So that's why I'm telling you, because it was Gemma Doherty who was filming. She's getting right into it, you know what I mean? She's the one, again, fighting the cause. And, yeah, that's probably why they because she's associated with that person, off you go.
That might be a couple of comments then, but at the end of the day, we were sharing news about Angela Ray, so get over who was filming it. It was about Angela Ray.
Yeah, it was. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, as I said, I think because this Gemma Doherty woman, as I said, all she's doing is pointing out certain things that are going on wrong in Ireland, in the country, and as I said, she's getting that same reputation as Tommy had. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening. I'm not saying that that's one of the reasons. I mean, I don't know, but I suppose if anything affiliated with that, you know how it goes. They shut us down, don't they? If you raise anything that goes against the establishment, against Tussler. I mean, my mum's fighting Tussler. She's been fighting them for years over my sister's care. My sister's got cerebral palsy. And my sister went and they found a rubber glove inside my sister. Do you know what I mean? A rubber glove inside my sister. My sister can't walk, talk. She's fed for a peg. My mum has been fighting them for years.
Bloody hell.
Do you know what I mean? As I said, these people, they're in power and they're abusing their power. You know, and they say, oh, my power corrupts, doesn't it? And I think that's what it is. And the social workers think they are, as I said, they think they got more power than anyone.
Yeah, they do. They think they're above the law. I mean, we've had it a lot recently. I'm going to have to finish up soon, but...
no problem.
We've had it recently where... Oh, my train of thoughts go. What were we on about then?
All right, don't worry.
What were we just saying then, though? It'll come back.
Oh, my power.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's one. A lot we've had recently, and I experienced it myself, and you probably have done as well, where a court order's been put in place which says you've got so much time that you've got to have per month or whatever. About you've got to do so much. This has got to be in by a certain time. You've got to do this work, that work, the other work, and you get a court order, and then social workers decide to take it upon themselves to edit that order, to take time away from your contacts here and there. So you might have, say...
Oh, yeah, like the way that they, with my son was, because he was at school, he was supposed to have contact every week. So I got 3 contacts a week. Yeah, I had my 2 contacts during the week that I was allowed, and my son was allowed on the weekends because I had him at weekends, contacts a week. Gently, then they started removing his contact to once a fortnight, trying to break the sibling bond. And after I kidnapped I didn't kidnap my kids. I said, I don't know why I always say that, but I got arrested for kidnap. But as I said, I sat in that police officer. I said, I've done nothing wrong, mate. They're under Section 20. I'm going to be out of here in a couple of hours. And even the copper said to me outside, he goes, do you know what, mate? He goes, if I was you, I'd have done exactly the same thing. I can't blame you for doing it. Now, it took me, nearly 2 months to get my contact reinstated. They wouldn't put it in a contact centre again. They put it in the actual social services building, what I was on about earlier, looked after children and the adoptions. And they put it in a broom cupboard with bars on the windows for the next, And then I had like 1 contact a week. Yeah, and as I said, it got to the stage where my son went from calling me daddy to, he'd go, Colin, he'd go to call me the foster father's daddy. He didn't even remember daddy. As I said, and like the most haunting thing that stays with me now is when I did do a runner with him, and my son goes to me, and he was 3 or 4 years old, and he went, where are we going, daddy? I said, I'm taking you home. And he mentioned the foster carer's name, and he went, well, Mandy says I'm a naughty boy and I'm never going home. Now that will haunt me for the rest of my life.
It's sickening though that these are the type of people who are actually looking after our kids when we're not allowed to. And it's not that we don't want to.
I thought this woman was good. Afterwards, she had said to me, do you know what, Jimmy? Do you know what we can do? You can take me to the boat and I'll pretend that you kidnapped me. And I was like, well, that's no life for the kids, because then I am going to be on the fucking run for the rest of my life. Do you know what? Because I pulled her up about it. I said, why would Caden say that? No, he's not going to lie. No, Mandy says I'm a naughty boy and I'm never going home. I said, and I had to experience it twice. I got dragged out of the police car, like they banged on the windows, they dragged me out, and yeah, it was a horrible experience. But as I said, all you can do as a parent is never give up hope. That's the one thing that we must have is hope. And united we stand together, and we just keep going, man. As I said, we'll knock the fucking wall down.
We have to. I mean, we've got to get back to our kids, and that's what we're. Well,
exactly. And as we spoke before, you know, what are they going to be like when they're older and they find out the truth? They'd want to know that you fucking fought and did whatever. And as I said, one of your videos the other night, the guy said, "We're leaving a body of work that's going to be there." And as I said, your kids are going to be so fucking proud of you, Katie. Trust me. They're going to be so proud of you.
It's more of a case of, I know that kids that have been in care or classed as local authority care get targeted when they become parents. And if we had these videos when we were going through it, that could help us get through our emotions during it, during it, have people there to support us and know that we weren't on our own, then it'd be a hell of a lot different, which is why I try and encourage people to come and do videos with me.
Yeah.
Because people will listen to other people, especially if you've experienced it. And at the end of the day, if we can help in any way, that could have helped us back then, even if it is.
Yeah, that's it. I said, get people to do their research. I said, when I looked into the term corporate parenting, I was like, what the fuck is corporate parenting? And then you look it up online, what corporate parenting is. That is the state looking after your kids. That's basically what it is, taking your kids. Corporate parenting. You know, corporation money. You know, as I said, that brilliant thing in traffic when the geezer types it in, social services in the company's house. All trading for profit.
Yeah, they are. I was just thinking that then. You just literally just have to go on to trading standards or whatever it's called and type in social services, and you will see that every social service.
How can a public authority be trading for fucking profit? I mean, as I said, they were going to sell them out to, what was it, Richard Branson wanted to buy the foster homes. And I mean, even, what's his name, Edward Timpson, the old children's minister. Yeah. Did you see how he made his millions? Fostering and adoption. Michael Gove, fostering and adoption. As I said, it goes right to the fucking top.
It does. It really does.
As you said, United will stand and we'll fucking keep knocking away at this fucking wall until we take it down, mate.
And you know what? That is a perfect note to end on as well, that, because that's strong.
All right, Katie.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'm going to end the recording.
All right, bye-bye. Take care, darling.